When you're out there, did you see anything?
Let's not start that flying saucer nonsense again.
These videos are satiric reviews. You don't have to agree, but don't bitch about it.
I want to warn you. Don't go spreading stories about things you imagined out in those fields.
Hey there, I'm social injustice warrior Infuso, and I'm here to share something very close to me. You see, growing up, I didn't watch a whole lot of scary movies, but the ones I did watch weren't all that scary to me. I mean, I liked Freddy Krueger, I liked Jason Voorhees, I liked Chucky. When I got older, I liked Michael Myers because I didn't really watch him back when I was younger for one reason or another. And none of them were all that scary to me. I thought I was beyond being scared of something I saw on screen until one fateful night when I was in about the 2nd or 3rd grade. I stumbled upon a film that would make me remind and reassure myself, it's only a movie. It's only a movie. It was a black and white older film. And maybe it was the absence of color or the fact that I was watching this very late at night or early morning, but this movie scared the shit out of me. And it gave me nightmares for years to come. And I've kept that memory in the back of my mind, searching the internet on occasion, trying to find said movie. And I've had no luck for the last 2 decades. But my luck changed, because I actually finally, all these years later, managed to find it. And now, I'm gonna share that with you. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you the 1953 movie, Invaders from Mars. Our childhood trauma begins with the narration in a model of space. When the son of a scientist wakes up and thus wakes his parents up to see a star at 4 a.m.
But Orion's in a zenith and it won't happen again for 6 years.
Move over.
You can always spot Regal and Bellatrix, but to be able to spot the Great Nebula and...
Both of you can hike right back to bed. It's not enough that I'm married to a scientist, but my son has to turn into one, too.
His parents send him off to bed because, unlike this little brat, they have work in a few hours. But little what's-his-name is woken back up when he spots what can only be described as a flying saucer land not all that far away from him. And little Billy decides to wake his father back up. Now, Danny, that's not a good idea, alright? The man needs to be up in 3 hours, and this is the 1950s, where we didn't really have the laws we do now for disciplining your child. My dude, you're gonna get the belt.
No, Daddy, no!
Timmy's father reassures him that it was all just a dream, but Danny persists that it was a spaceship. The scientist tells his son to get some sleep, but decides to take a look out for himself. For science, of course. Upon making his way across the set, he finds a gigantic hole in the sand. And let the nightmares commence. This is about to get real dark real quick. The next morning, his wife goes looking for him as he never returned to bed. She takes a few steps forward and then decides to call the police. Because this was the 1950s and women were apparently useless at the time. Though equally useless are these cops that she called, as they hardly make any effort or take the situation seriously, taking a few steps forward from where they once stood and then declaring, that's the end of the search.
Well, there ain't nobody out here, that's for sure.
Good to know the taxpayers' money is well earned.
Come on, let's go back. He ain't out here.
Well, that suits me. I could use some coffee.
They decide not to go for coffee after finding the man's flashlight, which had his name on it for some reason.
George McLean.
Then the guy was out here.
George, it's a flashlight. Not really a prized possession. You know, not exactly something I want to put my name on. I mean, I get that this is a beat in storytelling, but you mean to tell me the man couldn't have just dropped his wallet? Really, his flashlight. And he keeps his name on his flashlight. Very convenient for the plot. The sand reforms, revealing a hole in the ground, swallowing both officers whole.
The Oscar goes to...
But never mind that, because George is home and okay. Or is he? Little Georgie's father, who was a seemingly sweet man, you may recall him not kicking his son's ass for waking him up at 4 in the morning, at a time when he damn well could have gotten away with it. All of a sudden seems a whole lot more sinister.
Should say not at this hour in the morning.
But...
No, your mother is right. Now, not another peep out of you until you hear her in the kitchen.
You'll hear your father this morning.
Any chance for a cup of coffee?
And he also suddenly became really bad at lying.
What did happen to you?
I stopped over to see Bill Wilson.
In your pajamas?
In my pajamas, obviously.
But...
Period.
What happened to your knit? It looks like there's a...
Nothing. I caught it on a barbed wire fence.
Where's your other slipper?
I said period.
Also, side note, dude, just want to say, didn't know where to put this in. I'm just going to put this in here. Sick neck piercing, bro. Sick neck piercing, bro. You're ahead of the curve. You are a trendsetter. I mean, that right there just really screams midlife crisis. And also infection.
But there isn't any barbed wire between...
I called on barbed wire, I said!
Holy shit, Jimmy. You fucked with your father one too many times. But let's not judge so harshly here, alright? The man didn't get his coffee yet.
Am I gonna get my coffee? Thought I told you to get dressed.
Oh crap, the coffee doesn't matter. Coffee does not make a difference here. This is clearly a man going through an existential crisis. He gives no fucks and makes no apologies about it.
Won't you have some coffee?
Don't be silly, Mary. These gentlemen have some important work to do.
Yeah, you too.
Yes, I know.
And the officers don't seem to be all that far off either.
Sorry my wife put you to so much trouble.
Think nothing of it.
What are you gaping at?
What were those men talking about? As though you were in some kind of a plot together.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? It is, except it's not almost like that. It's exactly that.
Don't talk nonsense, Mary.
George tells his kid to piss off and go to his friend Andy's because he's taking his wife out. See, I told you not to judge the guy so harshly. Clearly, this is a gentleman.
M'lady.
Little Johnny rushes to the Wilsons' house to announce that he'd seen their daughter fall into a sandpit earlier. Oh wait, no, here's little Susie. Aw, isn't she horrifying? Jesus, it's like the kid from The Omen got gender reassignment surgery. It's like the little kid from Children of the Corn was reincarnated. It's like the boy from The Grudge made a new best friend. It's like a remake of Orphan. Okay, that one was too far. I'll take that one back. Little David, as I've just found out his name actually is, runs off in fear of this demonic Shirley Temple, as I think we all would, only to find that the Wilson cellar is on fire. And this is where the true terror began for me.
Kathy, were you playing in the cellar?
No, Mama.
Look at that. Look at that face and tell me that's not the scariest thing you've ever seen. Davy Boy runs to call a professor, but he's out for the time being. So he rushes to the milkman, I want to say, don't quote me, who decides to call the boy's father. The boy then rushes to the police, who are similarly no help at all. As a matter of fact, he finds out that the problem is a little bit closer to home than he knows. You know, despite it already being close to home, because it's his father who has these problems. You understand.
The kid here's got something so important that he can't tell anybody but you, on account of I wouldn't believe him.
Are you the chief?
That's me. Are you George McLean's boy?
Yes, sir.
I don't know, officer. I don't think the neck piercing exactly works for you. I mean, it was a cool look on George Sr., but now it just looks like you're jocking the guy's style.
It's on his neck, too. Please don't let my father get me. Please don't let him send for my father. They'll drag me down like they did Kathy. I know they will.
And I think this is where the true nightmares came from for me. I don't know about any of you, but when I was little and I said things, they were mostly disregarded by all adults. I mean, I was a kid. What did I know? Whatever it was, it must have been my imagination running wild. So it was really easy for me to identify with these kids' fear of impending doom. I mean, who would believe him? He was the main character, meaning that he was the main hope of this town surviving this alien invasion. And on top of that, the idea that people you know and love could be entirely overwritten into soulless, black-eyed vessels. And not exactly a comforting thought at 12 in the morning. All this combined scared the ever-loving shit out of me and my subconscious, because this movie played out over and over again in my head, just with me as the lead. But then again, that might be because I'm a conceited prick. A doctor shows up, and after assuring him that she's not one of them via her not having a neck tattoo, little Jimmy Timmy Tommy decides to talk to her.
Doctors are sort of like ministers.
If doctors are like ministers, I'm staying far away from all doctor. I don't want any part of that. Johnny tells the doctor of all his problems, and she does some deep digging into the situation as his mother shows up to pick him up. But his mother also seems to have a change of heart, so to speak.
Well, sure I know David. Yeah, he just called me a little while ago. I was out.
Well, this may sound silly, but David tells me he's seen a spaceship.
No!
Stop this
You
foolishness.
listen to me. It causes enough trouble. Come on.
Just a minute.
Luckily, the doctor comes back in time to declare that their son is in her care. And for one reason or another, the way they're acting in this scene got to me in ways that Gore didn't.
No, he has to go with us.
Now, you listen to me. We don't want you telling a lot of those idiotic stories. Understand?
George, you know we can't leave him here. We have to take him.
She takes him to the professor David had tried to call earlier, where they speak of aliens and their origin.
David, from the Earth's point of view, which planet is nearest to us right now?
Venus?
And here we are moving around the sun.
Going more than 100,000 miles an hour.
Which planet is nearest to us in its particular orbit?
Mars.
And look at this kid. He's a regular Jimmy Neutron. Except people actually listened to Jimmy Neutron when he spoke. Maybe if you perfected the swirly haircut, people would give a crap when you speak, Tommy. Eventually they speak about synthetic humans. And I'm going to be real with you. I wasn't following this part as a kid. And I'm not following it so much as an adult either. So I'm just going to put the exposition here. And you guys, just like me, make what you will out of it.
Their cities are underground. Or that they live in spaceships.
It can't be proved.
Can't be disproved either. That the Martians have bred a race of synthetic humans to save themselves from extinction. Say you're a Martian. With the aid of these mutants, you've developed a way of life to save your race.
I thought they were testing some sort of atomic device out there.
It is an atomic device. The plant your dad works at is where the whole motor assembly for that rocket was made. It's merely a matter of time before we set up interplanetary stations equipped with atomic power and operated by remote control.
But what did they want with little Kathy Wilson?
Kathy's father is Dr. William Wilson,
The physicist?
the man who conceived that rocket.
What have they done to my mother and father?
I don't know the answer to that one, David.
Using their telescope, they witnessed the boy's father toss a general into the sandpit, leading to that scientist calling in the big guns. That being the colonel. No, not that colonel. That would have made this movie an instant classic. I wouldn't have to tell you about this. Everyone would know about it. They rally the troops to listen to the boy's story, before heading over to the Wilsons' house, only to find that creepy little Kathy has died. Presumably because she was a witch and they burned her ass at the stake. Well, actually no. She died from a cerebral hemorrhage, which the doctor decides to further investigate, because at this point in the movie, she just finds everything suspicious. My husband had cornflakes instead of Lucky Charms for breakfast. I better do some investigating.
Just a minute, Colonel. What was the report on the cause of her death?
Cerebral hemorrhage, they said.
Cerebral hemorrhage just doesn't make sense for a young child like that. But if she had a scar on the back of her neck...
Well, you're right.
Yeah, try to be exact, David. Just where in relation to the fence?
I'll show you exactly, sir.
Yeah, we're as close to that spot as anyone's going to go for the present.
There's just nothing out there.
And hey, I wonder why we're seeing so many shots of this guy. I wonder if he's actually one of the bad... Oh, wait. No, never mind. It's actually... No, that's not a plot point. That's not what I thought was going to happen. Another one bites the dust. You know, with all this talk about the sandpit, I'm really starting to understand Anakin Skywalker a whole lot more.
I don't like sand.
The doctor and the scientist dude meet up with the army guys, and yes, this is commentary given to you by a 5th grader, as they discuss the creepy kid's death and the cause of it being the implant the aliens gave her. Which, again, is really just a neck piercing. Which, truthfully speaking, now that I'm thinking about it, and it's humans doing this, when clearly the aliens are the ones who invented this, that piercing just seems like interplanetary cultural appropriation. Check your human privilege, alright?
You know what I think, Colonel? I think this little device attached to the brain is some method of control.
Oh, no shit, Sherlock. Welcome to the plot.
What for? Well, if we had a reception unit like theirs, we might be able to get in on their wavelength. We might be able to locate their point of origin.
Okay, I am not comfortable with the way he just looked at that kid and the pause he took. That just made me think he was going to plant one on him. That's it. I'm turning this off.
The humans try to take the infected police officers captive, but they're immediately deactivated and deceased. That's one way to handle the situation.
What happened to him? He was all right, and...
The Oscar goes to...
The general and an infected police officer, I think, successfully steal some explosive materials. But that's okay, because the military has tanks. A whole shitload of tanks. Elsewhere, Dr. Wilson is mourning his daughter's death over science stuff, pouring an unnamed substance in and out of glass vials. Because science! Elsewhere, our main character, Georgie's parents, look to kill Wilson, but thanks to what can only be described as cartoonish timing, he gets to live another day. Not so great, because he gets to live another day in an alien invasion.
You would have been doing the poor man a favor.
The army digs and even destroys the sandpit, revealing a suspicious chamber.
The rest of you come down by rope. It's a long drop.
Let's have a ray, all right.
One that doesn't just blast its way through the earth, but fuses it as well.
Of course. While the lady doctor, surprisingly, isn't looking for more evidence as we speak, is actually comforting David.
If only you get news of your mother and father,
And letting him know that his parents are currently being operated on.
Martians could...
David, try not to think about it. They'll be all right.
Yeah, that's right, David. Try not to think about your parents being brutally murdered via brain hemorrhage. It's gonna be fine. Well, don't worry about it. It's okay. Well, no matter, as the sandpit opens up to reveal the terrifying alien creatures who are actually just men in green silk onesies. And these, even at the time of me watching this, looked funny. They were so terrible looking and they took all the fear out of the movie for me until I saw that. That's it. I mean, I was done being scared. Oh my god, what the hell is that? Kill it with fire. Jesus Christ, that is frightening. I don't know what kind of drugs you had to be on in the 1950s to think up this shit, but that in 2019, that is still some next level shit, man.
He is mankind, developed to its ultimate intelligence.
Have a nice day! I've got work to do!
The Martians separate the two and attempt to induct them into Scientology. Oh, I'm sorry, tried to brainwash them and induct them into Scientology.
These are his slaves, existing only to do his will.
Let her go! Tell him to let her go! Let her go! Tell him to let her go!
But before they can, the army comes barging in faster than you can meme it, attempting to take down any and all men in green silk pajama onesies. And they're surprisingly competent, considering, how the police officers acted in this reality. And then that happens, and then this happens, and then that happens, and some science mumbo-jumbo over here happens. And finally, they escape the underground chambers, and take off as fast as they can while poor little Jimmy is getting early signs of PTSD. And holy shit, I think I'm there with him. Trying to watch this movie all these years later, it's become too much. And that's when Kevin wakes up and realizes it was all just a dream. Just a dream. Just a dream. Oh, good. Yeah, okay, that's great. That's great. The perfect closure point. He just wakes up and just like that, the movie doesn't mean anything. Forget resolving the story. I mean, who needs to resolve the story so long as we just acknowledge it's a story? Who cares? It doesn't matter. I don't care. Well, thank you. Thank you, Billy. I appreciate it because your little dream gave me f***ing nightmares for years to come. So thank you. My childhood appreciates the trauma. And the worst part of all this is Bobby runs back into his parents' room and wakes them up again. Good job, kid. You've converted me. Yeah, you've converted. I don't care about my own people anymore. Now the next time I watch this, I'm actively rooting for the aliens. Which, by the way, there still are, because the movie ends with him seeing the flying saucer land all over again. Phenomenal. Perfect. Mwah. 10 out of 10. This is the greatest thing I've ever seen in my life. You bastards! Was it real or wasn't it? Did he dream it up or is it an actual thing? Make up your minds. What am I supposed to take from this? What's the takeaway? I mean, did they just land now, but Timmy had some sort of, That's So Raven premonition? Or is poor little Chucky Finster forever stuck in a time loop? Is this a reoccurring simulation? What was the point of your movie? Other than giving me nightmares. At least make me feel like my suffering wasn't in vain. You scarred me for years to come and you can't even wrap up things or conclude your own damn movie! Well, thank you guys. Thank you guys for joining me. I'm gonna go back to therapy immediately following this. Can't do this shit anymore. And this channel's just gotten to me in ways that I don't care to talk about. And yeah, that's it. I don't even know if I'm coming back at this. Is it. This is the last SIJW video ever. I can't do this shit anymore. It's done. That's it. I'm done. This isn't a bit. I'm done. I'm done with it. No, seriously, guys, like and subscribe. I need you guys to get through this, please. Sorry for lashing out.
I'm the Clown Prince of Crime, and that was the Prince of Personality, the Infuso, or so he says. So if you like the words that came out of his mouth hole and you too want to become a VTard, don't forget to like and subscribe. Follow the man on Twitter, because it's not stalking if it's on the internet after all. Join the fun by joining the Discord. If for some strange reason you want to show support, and I don't know why you would, And if you have $1 to spare, head over to the SIJW's Patreon, where you can request videos, get exclusive content, and early access to scheduled videos. Or head to his PayPal, where you can buy the shirts. Oh, aren't those lovely? And just remember, if you're not tuning in, you're missing out. Yeah. Ah!